Well, good morning, Mr. Prejean. I'm sorry for the pronunciation there. I'm from Cattle Parish up north, so I get the
Okay.
words wrong, so I apologize for that. The time is 11:06 in the morning. The date is still August the 6th of 2025. We're continuing our meetings, Louisiana Committee on Parole. So we've already introduced ourselves. We're in Baton Rouge, and you are, of course, at Louisiana State Penitentiary. The staff there has already introduced themselves, and we appreciate them hosting us. I see you've got a number of people behind you, and in a few minutes we'll get them to introduce themselves for purposes of the record. And then we will have three people that will speak on your behalf, and we'll get to them in just a little bit. Mr. Berger, Dalton, would
It's
you?
okay.
I'm gonna massacre that name every time I try it. But what is your DOC number, sir?
My DOC number is 476863.
Okay, thank you. And first, before we get to your supporters and all that, we're going to get you to tell us exactly why you're there, what you did, what you accomplished or learned since you've been there, and why you feel like that you deserve a chance to be paroled. And so we'll hear from you then we'll hear from the institution to find out what kind of fellow you've been since you've been there. And then we will go to your supporters and talk to a couple of them to see what they got to say. And then Ms. Stapleton will do some questions and then we'll vote. Pretty simple process. So why don't you start out, sir, and tell us exactly, excuse me, your attorney is there also, so I wanted to acknowledge Ms. Hogan. We're familiar with her and appreciate you being there too.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas Gilbo is also here as his attorney, and I think that Mr. Gilbo will be speaking whenever it's time for an attorney to make a comment, but I am also here to answer questions.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see that you're the former attorney.
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right. We'll get to both of y'all in just a moment then. Mr. Dalton, would you go ahead and tell us just exactly what I asked before? Why are you there and what you've accomplished?
Okay. Good morning to all of you, and thank you for this opportunity that's being presented to me. I am incarcerated for taking the life of Markel Anthony Broussard on October 15th of 2001. Oh, God help me. Jesus help me. On October 15th, 2001, I remember returning home from school and my wife needing to get to work, so I told her that I will watch Markel. Shortly after she left, Markel had begun crying, and I believe I gave him something to try to comfort him, but it wasn't working. And when his cries persisted, unfortunately, I became agitated, and I shook him, and I also hit him. I'm sorry. And when he became unresponsive, I immediately called 911 to get some help. I told them what I had done, and they tried to help give me some instructions on doing CPR. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did try. And when they came to give Markel assistance, I willingly left with the detectives. And once I was downtown and they questioned me, they asked me if I wanted a lawyer. I told them no because I was guilty of what I had done, and I just wanted to be forthcoming with what I had done. And doing that interview, I also disclosed to them that on two other occasions that I had indeed abused Markel. Uh, my actions against Markel were unjustified. There's no kind of way that I can ever make light of what I've done to Markel. But I do believe that since I've been incarcerated, that I've taken the necessary uh, steps to make sure that I don't hurt another human being, regardless of where my life ends. So one of the first things I had to do, I had to realize that I did indeed have an anger problem. And to be honest, I had to find out where the root to my anger came from. And I discovered that because of the situation with my father was here at Angola. He was executed when I was 10 years old, and my depression had turned inward, and that's what fueled uh, my anger. And even though that's not an excuse for anything that I've done to Markel or anything that I've done to wrong people in the past, I'm only stating this just to show you where my frame of mind was. And in my past, you're going to see that I used a lot of marijuana. I was trying to self medicate to stay calm because I was always agitated about stuff, and the only reason why I hurted people, and all, and the only reason why I did that because I didn't have the tools to address or properly address the reason why I was angry. And since I've been here, I've taken anger management classes, but the ones that were most effective, in addition to anger management classes, was the Thinking for a Change class, in the victim awareness class. I'm actually a facilitator for victim awareness and Thinking for a Change. And in short, the reason why those classes impacted me the most is because it gave me an opportunity to think about what I was thinking about. Obviously, I wasn't doing any thinking at the time I committed the crime against Markel Anthony Broussard, who was my stepson by marriage. Um, and why you should vote for me today, I'm simply asking for mercy. Honestly, um, I've lived a life of service in this community as a pastor, as a reentry social mentor, where I deal with the behavior aspect of younger offenders. Um, Again, I don't want to sound redundant, but a life skill facilitator of a lot of different classes because I wanted people to get the same help that I got when I came into the system. And my purpose for doing so is to make sure that if guys do have an opportunity to be released, that they won't continue in the same pattern of bad thinking that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate those comments, and we certainly will keep them in mind when we get to question you in a few minutes. Okay, is the deputy warden prepared to speak? Tell us about this fellow.
Yes, probably. So, Dalton has served approximately 20 years. He's had 4 disciplinary write-ups in those 20 years, with the last one being in 2012 for a Rule 21. He was in an unauthorized area. He was in a dorm.
How many years have you served?
He's a MLB assigned to MAG 3, where he works as a certified mentor for our reentry program, which I can go into those details after I read off all he's accomplished. That's fine. Carpentry, automotive technology, NOBATs, masters in NOBATs, certified tutor, IC3 level 3, certified college tutor, anger management, Malachi Dead, Inside Out Deads, substance abuse, Celebrate Recovery, 100 hours, anger management, victim awareness, victim letter training, moral compass mentor training, trauma healing, certified mentor, and Tyro, which is, I didn't know what that was until just now. It's a leadership training program. And so his Tiger score is low as well. So the leadership training program, I'm sure, comes into play with the reentry program. He's a big part of our reentry program. When the guys intake on Monday morning, we intake them, talk to them, find out what's going on, and then we have the mentors come over and walk them down to their housing area to help transition them to life here at Angola. He also acts as, for lack of words, a big brother to them. He watches over them. He makes sure they stay on the right path. He keeps them out of, he keeps them from doing bad things in prison. Like maybe if they want to get drugs or something, he talks them out of it. They talk to them. They're their counselors. They make sure they get into school and everything. He's also a pastor of one of their fellowships, the Rehabilitators Fellowship. Basically, Dalton helps the new intakes with reentry make good decisions. So I think I don't know what Dalton's plan is, but I would feel just by reentry and the things that he has helped, I think going into society, he would transition well. But I think it would be more of a transition along the lines of helping the youth, maybe in a youth program to keep them from coming to prison. I didn't know that until Dalton said that his father had passed away here. But I think it might be helpful if he was involved in youth programs to try to keep the kids on the right track, since it seems he's learned here. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that insight. Okay, we'll move on to your supporters now. Support the effort. Mr. Kerry Myers. Kerry, would you talk to us about your program, please?
Yes, good morning. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. And we're here today to support Dalton's petition for parole. Could easily go into Dalton's childhood and a lot of things, but that's what prison is supposed to be, is a place to do two things: incapacitate people, at least, and rehabilitate. And if prison is about rehabilitation, then Dalton is the epitome of rehabilitation. Not only that, he's also the epitome of self-awareness. Recognizing where he's come from and where he is now. We've seen very few people who have the accomplishments that Dalton has. Coming into this program, we work with people who have, at various stages, and it's just so rare to see someone like Dalton who's so prepared. We still will provide Dalton with the transitional services that he needs after 23 years of incarceration. He will get the proper mentorship from people who have been in his shoes. He'll get the training that he needs in life skills on the outside. While he's teaching skills on the inside, obviously there's a difference in the transition. Things like financial planning, things like social norms and job skills, they do not translate necessarily the same. So we're prepared to give him hands-on, real-world support in those things. Again, I can sit here and I'm not going to go because I know this is going to be a longer hearing. We just have not seen people like Dalton, who is as prepared and has taken advantage of all the options and opportunities for rehabilitation like he has. So we just ask this board to consider those factors today and grant his parole.
Great. Thank you for that. And thank you for what y'all do. We'll move on right now. Before we get to the attorneys, we'll move on to a friend that is there at LSP, Louisiana State Prison, Michael Coates. I believe Mr. Coates wants to say something. Before we do that, Mr. Coates, would you raise your hand, please?
My hands. We can only go.
And there's a fellow seated right next to you, Mr. Coates, and he's got a necklace on. I'm looking at a black stripe thing. Okay, yes, sir. Would you introduce yourself and go down the line and tell us who all is there? Just introduce yourself, please.
Joshua Thibodeau. I'm his first cousin.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Debrianna Green. I'm his daughter. Okay. Sheila Williams, I'm his aunt and his godmother.
Michael Palmer, and I'm a friend of his.
Bernadette Prejean Williams, I'm his mother.
Yes.
Yusuf Gardner, I'm his brother.
Sharon Eastia Pete, I'm his sister-in-law.
Jessica Garrick, his cousin.
Lawrence Garrick, his uncle.
Molly Gilbo, a friend.
Sidney Anderson, a friend.
Angie Bruno, a friend.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And let's see, and got some folks here at headquarters. Your aunt Erica Williams is here, and William Marcus Jr. from the First Presbyterian Church is here. Is that correct? Okay, and they're here. Just wanted you to know that. And okay, now it's time for Mr. Michael Coates. Tell us about your friend there.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor for me to sit before this honorable board. Dalton and I have been friends for a little over 20 years, and we've gotten to know each other, learn each other. We've cried together, we've laughed together. I watched him grow. I watched him mature to be the young man that he is today. We attended the Bible college together. We graduated together. We became tutors at the Bible college, and we were members of the same church, the Rehabilitators. Dalton was a minister on staff, and as he began to grow and mature, he became the assistant pastor under me. And when I left Angola, Dalton became senior pastor of the Rehabilitators. And since that time, he's done an outstanding job in leading that congregation. He's one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. And when I say we've cried together, we've talked about the mistakes he's made in the past. He's opened up to me, and we just sat there and I listened, and I realized that this young man was broken inwardly because of the things that he did in the past. But at the same time, I made him realize that he had to continue to move forward. That he did. And he's still moving forward. And society would be greatly enhanced if Dalton Prejean was offered the opportunity or given the opportunity today to move into the free society. It would be a travesty that he would have to spend any longer behind closed bars. So I'm here today as his friend, as a mentor to him, and I feel like he's my son in many ways because we've been together for so long. But I know personally that he would be a great asset to whatever community or wherever he should decide to live. He would be a great asset to that community with the kids, with people who need help, because he's been there. He's, as the old folks say, he's did that and done that. He knows all the mistakes. So the only thing he can do now is move forward. So I'm asking this honorable board to please consider giving Dalton Prejean his freedom today. And thank you.
Okay, thank you for those words. You're a good friend. Okay, we'll turn it over to Ms. Hogan. Do you want to speak first? Or does Mr.
No.
Gil-
I'll let Mr. Gilbo speak. Mr. Prater, thanks for asking.
Can you see me?
Sir, can.
All right, I'm Thomas Gilbo, Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm a retired criminal defense attorney, 54 years of practice. I represented Dalton Prejean Sr. when he took the life of the state trooper back in 1977. The trial was moved to Monroe. He was convicted. He was sentenced to death. At the time he shot the trooper, he was 17 years old. I appealed this case and later had help with out-of-state lawyers. I stayed on the case for 13 years. I was at Dalton's execution along with Nancy Goodwin, his spiritual advisor, because he asked us to be there. 5 years after Dalton was executed, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that you could not execute someone under the age of 18. So it's a shame that Dalton lost his life at that time because he was 17. But when he was 30 years old, when they executed him. When I've known Dalton Jr. since he was born. We called him DJ. I am also his godfather, along with Sheila. And he bears a middle name of Thomas. And he's down to Dalton Thomas Frejean Jr. And when I told his father, I said, you can't do that, Dalton, because you don't have a Thomas in your name. He said, well, Mr. Gilbo, that's just the way it is. And you do have a Thomas in your name. Dalton, I was able to take DJ, as we call him, to visit with his mother, Bernadette, to visit Dalton on death row. The warden then, I believe it was Warden Blackburn, allowed us to do that. And many times I took them to Angola and we got into a cell, the three of us, and Dalton would hold his 10-year-old or 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old son in his lap and was really thrilled. And they had a deep bond between them. We won the pardon board hearing and we thought we were going to get, a green light there. That didn't happen. When the execution date was set, DJ had to line up with the rest of the family to tell Dalton goodbye. That is the saddest time of all in an execution. When the loved ones are told, okay, line up, you got 5 minutes, tell them goodbye. And when it came to those two, it was incredible. It was hard. We got through the execution. DJ was very much impacted by it because he was teased a lot by children at school. They told him your daddy fried like a chicken. They told him fire came out of his ears. And Nancy Goodwin and I would have to calm him down and say that wasn't true. But he suffered a lot when his father passed. He had a grandfather, Nelson Garrett. Nelson Garrett would have been the man that could have turned Dalton's life around because he was a male figure that DJ was taking as a second father. I don't know if you can see this picture or not. This is me and DJ when he was 11 years old, and Nelson Garrett got him to be the king of the children's Mardi Gras. And he was the sweetest looking, most precious little boy. 2 years later, Nelson Garrett died of a heart attack. And that's when Dalton went off the rails. From then on, he did not have a male in his life. I fought myself many times that I wasn't there for him more, but I was very much wrapped up in my criminal trial practice at that time. And I'm sorry I wasn't there more for you, more on that, DJ. But he was an angry man when he went to prison. He has served 23 years and 10 months today. He has turned into an incredible human being. His portfolio has 127 certificates in it. I don't think anyone in Angola has gotten more certificates or is more rehabilitated than Dalton. I have personally seen him change as a human being. I've followed him all of his life, all the time through prison. My wife and I have followed DJ, spoke to him. He is a totally changed human being. Everything that was said about him earlier is true. It's time for him to go out in the world and do good. I know if you grant the parole, he has an opportunity to work at a prison ministry in Parchment Prison, Mississippi, and would be doing similar work with inmates and what have you. So I hope and pray that you all do that. I want to thank each one of you for the time you give to this board and the service that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those heartfelt remarks. We appreciate that. Take them into consideration. Ms. Hogan?
The only thing I would like to add, Mr. Prater, I don't want to say the same thing and be redundant, but I would just point out that, as indicated by Mr. Gilbo, Mr. Prejean's rehabilitation began, when he came to prison with 60 years to serve before he was parole eligible. Act 122 was only passed a couple years ago. So all of these accomplishments and all of his rehabilitation is genuine. It was the work of him working on himself and giving back and living a life of service to others, which has included mission trips to other prisons, as Warden Oliver spoke, rehabilitating and working, being a core member of the reentry program, getting a master's degree from the Bible College. So for all of these reasons, we'd ask the board to vote in favor of his parole.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hogan. We appreciate that. I think that is all of the speakers that are going to be speaking in favor. There are none that are signed up to speak in opposition. Ms. Stapleton, would you begin the questioning, please?
Dalton, everything you talked about has been exemplary. You were talking about the incident, it ended up being a murder that day.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it was.
A few months old. And then that couple times before then, you had lost your temper. And
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We have these cases in front of us. The neurosurgeon said that there was bruising on the baby's head and in the facial area.
Yes, ma'am.
Brain shaking caused Markel's death. Said there was a tooth knocked out and bleeding from the nose area, retinal hemorrhaging, bruising on the left pelvis. And there was no chance of Markel living without life support when he got to Lafayette, Jim. You have, incredible support from really everybody. And I read also about your certificates, over 100, like 20 something certificates. Law enforcement entirely, they oppose this. You've served, like I said, almost 23 years of a 60-year sentence. So we're talking about 1/3. And is there anything more you'd like to say to me about that would help you with this?
Thank you, Miss Stapleton. Jesus help me. I'm not at a loss for words. I'm actually still hurt by the things that I've done to Markel. And as I have disclosed to the detective that there were instances where I did admit that I did hit him, and I did hit him in the head, and I did hit him in the face, and there were times that I did hit him in the stomach area. What was going through my mind at the time? Ma'am, I have no idea. All I know is that I was agitated, and that was the way that I responded. At that time in my life, I smoked a lot of weed and stuff just to keep me calm, but that is not an excuse for anything that I've done to anyone, especially Markel. I actually love Markel. And he and I had a great relationship. I just had a problem dealing with my own anger issues. But since I've been in this situation, I've owned everything I've did. Matter of fact, I've owned everything I did from the day that I've did it. I've never shied away from anything that I've did. I'm the one who gave the detectives 2 confessions. I don't know what else to do but to take ownership, and that's is exactly what I've done. And my rehabilitation all started with.
You've been exemplary. You've been very exemplary in that. I mean, record shows that. And then also your support. I don't know how Markel's family, the mother, and maybe aunts and uncles are going. You were going to say something, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Mr. Gilbo has been in contact with Markel's father at least months ago, and I believe that he had written a letter.
There should be a letter in your file from Mr. Williams, the father of Markel, saying that he is in favor of Dalton being granted parole. That should definitely be in your file. But I can say that he told me that, and I have his.
Yeah. Okay, they read it. I missed it. Yeah, they read it, so that's good.
Okay.
I was
Okay,
wondering
thank you.
about that, the other side of the story.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
I'd like to ask to go into executive session.
Good idea.
We have a motion for executive session.
Second,
Okay.
Prayer,
Yes.
Satan,
yes.
yes.
Okay, we'll be in executive session in just a few minutes. We'll step to the back. Y'all can stay seated in here. We have a motion to go back into regular session from executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Would you please call roll and add?
Prater,
Yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Ledoux.
Okay, we're back into regular session now, and I think have we asked all the questions?
That's it. I don't have
That
any
you
more.
have? And have you, Ms. Ledoux, any questions? Comments, anything? Okay, I think we've, I have one question. How
Yes,
many times did you, and how many other occasions did you injure this baby?
On the 2 occasions that I did admit to, I don't believe that they had like other specific days, but I did disclose to the detective. I was very honest with them that at few times that when I got agitated that I did indeed abuse and hit Markel, and I think they only charged me twice, but I did hit Markel. It wasn't an ongoing thing, but nevertheless I did abuse and hit Markel Anthony Broussard.
Thank you for your honesty. Appreciate that. Ms. Stapleton, I think it's time to vote.
Yes. Mr. Prejean, you know, really, you've done a great job for the time you've been in jail, in prison and everything like that. You're on the right path to get your life in order, and I think you've done that. But we have a dead child, and this baby was brutalized. So based upon strong law enforcement opposition, all of them are opposed, and I do have victim opposition, and you served about a third of your sentence. I'm going to deny your request today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Prejean, my vote in no way mitigates the severity of this crime. You have admitted it. We all understand. I do not believe that you're a threat to public safety. I think you've done exceptional rehabilitation, amazing conduct, and you have stable plans. My vote today is to grant. Parole.
Okay, you need a unanimous.
Ask a question.
Well,
What's
no,
visible?
we're voting. We're voting now, sir, and we appreciate that, but we're in the process of voting. So we have one vote to deny, one vote to grant. You need a unanimous from the jury with the law is from us, what the law is now, and you have not reached that. But so that you will know, my vote would have also been to deny because it wasn't just one occasion. But I think that who knows what my vote will be in a few years. Who knows? Because I think that you are a model inmate. And please reach inside yourself and continue with the behavior that you're showing right now. So as of 11:48 this morning, your parole request has been denied. Thank you.